So, regular decision versus priority decision. That's what we want to talk about today. Many colleges will offer you the opportunity to apply by a regular deadline or a priority deadline. And if this is the case, 100 times out of 100, I recommend you apply by the priority deadline. Why? Because priority means priority. And if you really have a priority in getting into this college, you will apply by the priority deadline, not the regular deadline. Many colleges that offer a regular deadline a little later than the priority deadline offer the vast majority of spaces in their freshman classes to students who apply by the priority deadline, not the regular deadline. Now, that's not always the case, but if a school offers something called priority and you really want to get in, you sure as heck better apply by the priority deadline. Let's use University of Maryland College Park as an example. They offer priority admission deadline of November 1st. And their regular admission deadline, gosh, I don't even know when it is. It's January 1st or January 15th. It may be as late as February 1st, but it's a joke. No one in their right mind would apply by the regular deadline because at last check, 75% or more of the students who get into University of Maryland as freshmen applied by the priority deadline. So in the case of Maryland, they applied by November 1, and then they will hear if they've been accepted or not by the last week of January in most cases. Whereas if they apply by the regular deadline, again, sometime in January or February at the latest, they'll hear by April. The reason why priority exists is so that colleges can better manage their enrollment, but it also gives you, the student, a real advantage, a distinct advantage to show that you mean business, that you are committed to that college or university, and you can get your act together and your application in with all its supplemental documents, your scores, your transcripts, your letters of recommendation, anything else that is required by the college or university by that earlier deadline. There is no binding aspect to priority admission, so if you apply to, again, University of Maryland, College Park, and they offer priority and you get in, priority does not mean you have to go. You have until May 1st, the universal reply by date, by which to get back to them and say yes or no to their offer of admission. So similar to rolling, you're going to hear earlier, but there is no downside of applying earlier than you normally would have if you applied regular decision. There's really only an upside for you. So I highly encourage you, anytime a school offers something called priority admission or a priority deadline, apply by that priority deadline. Regular admission is for fools. It's for people who can't get their act together in time for more beneficial deadlines that the college or university may offer. There are some colleges that only offer regular decision, but regular decision at a college that also offers priority, early action, early decision, early action 2, early decision 2, restrictive early action, whatever. Regular decision is sort of like the drop dead deadline. It's the deadline that the latecomers, the late starters will use. And you don't really want to be included in that pool if at all possible. Again, there are some schools like University of Delaware that have only one deadline and one deadline only, in which case you really can't differentiate your interest level in that school or your organizational ability in any way by when you get that application in. So that's okay at a school like that doesn't have any other deadlines. But any school that has earlier deadlines, you got to really seriously look at what they mean. And when you see the word priority, that's sort of like a flashing applause sign. You know, you got to pay attention to that. That means clap your hands, and you should be very happy because that means that you're going to have a better read of your application if you apply by that deadline than if you were to apply by the regular deadline.